Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cactus Patch. I'm your host, Glitch Cactus, but you can call me Cactus. And today we have a very exciting episode of the Cactus Patch. We're going to be discussing the upcoming local for New York City, Big Dapple 5, and who else to have than none other than the TOs that help set up this event from the ground up. Joining, we have Power, Law, and Pico. Tell us about yourselves. How are you doing? We'll start with you, Power.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm doing great today. Thank you. Uh, in Splatoon, I am just a TO nowadays. I used to be a competitive player. Now I'm washed. You know, full time, half-time TO, whatever you want to call it, for Metro Inc.
Valid, valid. All right, Law, you're up next.
Hello, hello. I'm the law, and there is no more else to explain. That's all there is. Thank you.
The
No,
Law.
no, I. That's it. Needs no definition, you know. I am a former former comp player, now a TO, unwillingly here. You know, no one ever chooses to be a TO. You kind of just.
You get morphed into it.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
You sort of just get nominated, and you're in. But uh, yeah, we're here. Having a pretty good day. Pretty good day.
That's good. That's good. Love to hear it. And Pico, how about you? Tell us about you and how you got here.
Yeah, I mean, much like Andy, I am a ex-competitive Splatoon player, all the way back from the golden Splatoon 1 age. But nowadays, just like Andy, I'm also washed up, which is why we ventured over to the TO side because it's fun. It's fun to be on that competitive side of Splatoon, but not actually competing. So
Uh, my wash different than your wash, by the way.
oh, wait. I don't know about that
That's
one.
crazy, bro.
No. I don't know about that one, Chief. Hold on.
All right, we'll pull up.
Not the different wash. That's insane.
Oh man.
All right, so let's go a little bit into the backstory for you guys, right? How did you get into Splatoon? How did you get into competitive? What at some crossroad made you want to switch into TOing? We'll keep it going the same order throughout this. So, Power, we'll start with you.
All right. Honestly, I got into Splatoon through my brother who bought the game for me. I had no idea what the game was until then. And then from there, I'm like, huh, it'll be pretty fun to get a team together. And from there, I joined Squid Boards, went through the community at that point. Uh, there's so much that could be said about that era of Splatoon.
Golden age, bro.
It,
I was
it
about to
was
say probably Golden Age.
honestly, it was an interesting age. Nowadays, it's like you got Sundered.ink, you got results and stuff. But back then, it was Squid Boards, Skype,
Skype.
Better
and
time, man.
funny enough, I didn't really have like a I'm comp now I'm a TO type thing. At first, I was comp and TO because I did do one. I did host the very first Ink or Sync and the last Ink or Sync, a very infamous tournament. I don't know if anyone here knows it.
Of course.
So
I was in that one.
You were?
Yeah, I played in
Bruh.
that tournament. That was my first ever tournament,
No, yeah.
which was the first ever tournament in Splatoon history. Funny enough, but
It was. I was one of the TOs there, and I was also playing in it. Uh, so, okay, this format will never happen again, but it was like it was supposed to last like 4 weeks, 4 weekends, and then you play your round on one of the Saturdays or Sundays, and you're supposed to schedule it with the captains. So it was like a ludi,
Yeah.
but on 2 days of the week, and it worked all right for the first few rounds, but then one time there was a break. It couldn't work out the schedule, and then after that, it just broke. It never finished, by the way.
it never did.
No way.
To this day, it is never finished.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was my first EO adventure. Fun times. Yeah. Then I played comp for like I don't want to like take up all the time talking about comp because I feel like I could talk about it forever. But
Dude, we can go on for hours.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah,
Cactus,
yeah.
we
If
can
you
stay here
want it.
forever.
Cactus did say that, so we're gonna be here for a while.
It all started when I picked up the controller.
Well,
Yeah, right.
on a cold day in November, I was born. And, but yeah, I mean, comp for me was like, free agent hell. It's at first finding where I wanted to be, what kind of teams I want. I know I wanted to be like really good and stuff, so
Mm.
it's practice and hop from teams and play with different people. And eventually, I played with like C minus, another OG team. I wonder how many OGs are listening.
It's good old C minus.
The Pico was on that team too.
I was on that team.
uh,
Secret lore.
yeah, super secret lore.
Yeah, right.
We never played with each other though.
No, funny enough, we interacted so many times we
Really?
never played with each other once.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, that's the crazy
Uh,
part.
Yeah, I mean, this whole time I wasn't like, I only TO'd that one tournament, and I was like, yeah, TOing's not for me.
That's fair.
And yeah, until today. But yeah, pretty much from C minus, I joined like Deadbeat / Set to Destroy X. They were a sponsored team. We won Worlds, and that was really fun. I like playing
So-
with Japan and all that. That was probably my favorite time playing comp, playing against Japan, since
Being the
After-
best,
dude. no, not even. It's like to describe it. It's dude. It was awesome. It was we would wake up, or I would wake up in the morning just do like JP scrims because I was still in like high school, early college, so
Mhm.
I had time to do that kind of thing. And it just felt like it just felt good to get beat, to get destroyed. Like I never felt that good before to get destroyed. I'm like, god damn.
Mhm.
But yeah, from there I just kind of, after SCDX and all that, I just played around for a little bit, played comp with pickups, friends and stuff. And then Splatoon 3 happened. Everyone's hyped for Splatoon 3. It's like, dude, Splatoon 2, at the end of Splatoon 2, everyone's like, bro, let's come on, get this over with already. Let's get to the new game.
Yeah, bring on what's next.
Yeah, what's next? Splatoon 3 happens, and the Nintendo NYC tournament happens too. That's where well, actually no, me, Pico, and the Law, we talked and met at like the Nintendo midnight launch for Splatoon 3. And
Yeah.
Oh,
That
that's
was
fire.
the first time I think I formally met Andy. Like Pico and I had known each other in Splat too, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah, I was like, I think I met Pico before at like Smash and Splash, but it was very brief.
Again, we've interacted so many times in our careers, and not once do we actually like formally like hang out with each other. Maybe till like Splat 3.
Oh my gosh.
It
Yeah.
definitely was.
It took
It's like
2
when-
generations.
What you come to realize about this community is that it's a lot smaller than you think, and like you really do,
Oh yeah.
I guess, bump shoulders with everyone. And
Yeah.
like if you really dig deep enough with anyone who's in it, who has been in it for a while, like everyone knows everyone. It's crazy.
I'm actually kind of surprised how often sometimes I like talk to someone and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been around since Splatoon 1," and I'm like, "What?" Like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Yeah. From that was the start of my next TO journey. Like when I met these guys.
I guess I'll take that segue. So I got into Splatoon after it had won Game of the Year. So I think it was my brother, funny enough, also my brother, who had recommended it. And I just remember I was such a casual. I knew no one else who would play the game, so I'd always just like play it by myself.
Mhm.
I don't think I got any higher than rank B in Splatoon 1, so I never made it anywhere close to competitive. I didn't even know you can switch up the gear in the game. And so when I
So
saw
you're rocking the
people
day
have-
one gear.
yeah. So when I found out that people knew how to change it, I was like, oh wow, that's like a whole nother level. Splat 2 came around. I had gotten it up at launch at this point because I had already fallen in love with the game. I played it with my roommate from college and his girlfriend at the time, and it just so happened that we'd play together. She brought her younger brother with them, and so we'd all squad up, right, and we just play.
Mhm.
And then the Nintendo New York tournament came around for Splatoon 2, and the younger brother happened to follow a Nintendo streamer called Nintendo Kid, and they were hosting tryouts, and he was just like, "You're way better than me. Like, you should try out." Like, I wouldn't get it anyway. I was like, "Okay, sure." Like, I'd always been interested. I've always loved competing, so
Mhm.
I tried out with them. And ended up playing with them, and like, thankfully, I was playing with them because I don't know if you've ever tried to go to any of these tournaments, but like, you have to be so early on the line, like, to sign up to be able to actually get in the tournament that you could like totally miss the window, basically. So we thankfully they were like line hunters, I guess, and they were basically one of the first few people on the line, and
Yeah.
it ended up working out. So we played in the tournament, and uh, it's like a funny, like, one thing led to another, and we ended up actually doing pretty well for complete amateurs. None of us have been competitive before. Uh, we ended up making, I think, top 4. And my favorite, like, little anecdotes from that tournament was that, like, I had faced off against Sigrex for the first time in that tournament. Like, he was in it. Um, we lost to Pico's team. So Pico's team was the one that ended up taking us out. So that's when Pico and I had met. Uh, and I know Andy was at that tournament too, because he was the one who ended up winning it all.
Yep.
So
There's a fabled picture
Insane.
of all of us, or me and Andy, sitting next to each other, and we look so young. But at that point, again, we knew each other back then. We just never interacted. But
Yeah.
yeah,
We gotta find that picture.
I
that's
still
how
have it.
Dude, that's legendary.
that's how crazy it is. That's how small world it is. So
Mhm.
when I was there, I was invited by Kendall to go to the Long Island lands.
Mhm.
So that was my first foray into comp, and uh, went to a few, got hooked, found flat Twitter, and yeah, just kept on getting deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. Then I saw that dude had put out feelers for tryouts for his girlfriend at the time, who was Spectre, uh, and her team for 2 Moons. And so I said, why not? Like, I'll give it a shot. So I tried out for 2 Moons, and I did not make the team. Funny enough, at least the first time around. And I was, and a lot of people can attest to this, like, I was a solo queue warrior for the longest. So a
Mhm.
lot of people know me as someone they've seen in ranked. Uh, I think that's actually how not Cactus, how Craft remembers me earliest, like,
Mhm.
just from solo queue. But um, yeah, I ended up playing solo queue so much that Spectre found me again in one of the matches, and they were still looking for a player, and she ended up inviting me to the team. So
Dumb for you.
yeah. So you never know, and it was super cool. They were an amazing team to play with, and we still play friendlies together, I guess, and Spot 3. So we all kept in touch. But yeah, comp played it for a few years, and then I think I just took a break in 2019 before the pandemic hit, and so I kind of saw a little bit of the tail end of Spot 2 comp, and yeah, I mean, during Spot 2 we were mid level at best,
Mhm.
um, and then TOing, I actually had no experience with TOing. It wasn't until Spot 3. Um, so yeah, so naturally we all met Splat 2, the Nintendo New York tournament, and Splat 3, of course, with the launch. And Andy had mentioned that's when I had, like, formally met Andy. I don't think I had ever met
Mhm.
him previously. And Pico, of course, I had known from the Long Island events, and we'd even played together, I think, once on the Long Island event. Is that right, Pico?
Who could forget LISS 2019,
Oh yes, it was 2019. I don't know why I thought it was one of the
the
smaller ones.
God Run.
Yeah, you're right. How can I forget? Um, you know what, Pico? I'll let you tell that story.
Oh yeah, well it's a great story. I'll say.
I love it. By the way, y'all have like incredible transitions here. I love this. Like, this is
Yeah.
beautiful, bro.
Squad up.
So yeah, funny enough, before I played Splatoon, I was actually very big in the Smash scene. But back then it was Smash 4. But specifically in more like the New York City Smash scene, I was like a very well known Jigglypuff player. But over time, my competitive drive like started to die down a bit. To the point where, Splatoon 1 had just released on that day. And I was like, you know what? Let's check it out. It seems like a fun game to play. Little did I know that by me randomly picking up that game, I'd be here all these years later. And it worked, and so I picked it up. I liked how the game flowed. I liked the mechanics of the game. I just liked how it was different, compared to other shooters at the time. You had the Call of Duties, and the CSGOs and stuff like that. So, I played casually, I just constantly played it, but I didn't actually get into the competitive side of it until I met a streamer. His name is N Squared, or he goes by Nestor, who, funny enough, is still somewhat in the community. He runs the 2D Con lands over in Minnesota still.
Okay.
But he, I just played in his like random PB lobbies, and then he's like, "Man, like you're really good at the game." I'm like, I mean, not really, but and so over time he kept like egging me on. He's like, "Hey, you should do competitive. You should do competitive. Like you're really good at the game." And yeah, from there, just I tried out for C minus. They accepted me. I was like, great. They're like, what do you play? I was like, I play a press forward Luna. They said, sure, have fun. And yeah, from there, I mean, I did competitive with C minus most of my career in Splat 1. And then there were also like smaller, like minor teams in Splat 1 that I was on. Like there was a team called like Alias. I was on Kairos for a bit. But over time, that like competitive drive started to like die down a bit, right? And so I switched over to more of the casual side of Splatoon, which I don't know if y'all remember Splatoon Amino.
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh my god.
So I joined Splatoon Amino because I heard it was like more casual side, like the more fun side of Splatoon. But little did I know, everyone on the app thought I was a god at the game. Because again, I played like competitive at like a high level, like I was S+, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, like, are you like the god of Splatoon?" I'm like, "No, not really. there are other players better than me." But but using Splatoon Amino, I started to see like the other side of competitive Splatoon, which is more the casual side of like people just squatting up for fun. People try squatting for fun. And from there, that's where I found most of my enjoyment with the game, was through that more casual side. And funny enough, that's actually where I met Birch, who's like what a staple at our like New York City lands. I met him there. I met half of Seafood Sorbet there essentially, until they worked their way up and they got better than me. And I started to realize I was getting old. Yeah, but it wasn't until Splat 2 where more people started to like know who I was, and it was because of my like ballpoint. So I was on a team called Momentum. I was on a team called Ren, but my name didn't really get out there until I was on a team called Panda Knights, which was me, ZZ, a guy named Jay, and then Kiwi, who's this insane bamboo player. But the reason we got popular is because our whole SMIC was like double bamboo ballpoint tent, and no one knew how to stop it because they're like, "What is this comp? Like, what are you guys running right now?" And it worked. We made a name for ourselves. We were playing lots of tournaments. We were getting top 8 a lot, and from there, like once we like won Ludi and then we like disbanded, that's when that competitive side like started to die down again, and I focused more on the casual side. But then once I got on the casual side of Splatoon 2, I kind of like died down from the game for a bit until Splat 3 came out. And that's when I said like, hey, I don't want to repeat this cycle of me doing competitive and then going to casual and then switching back and forth. I just want to stay more on the casual side, but I also want to find a way to like stick with the competitive side as well. Like I don't want to completely get rid of it because that's where I came from. And so that's where I had the whole idea of like TOing, right?
Mhm.
You know, I've always brought it up to Kendall, who, you know, Law mentioned, who was a TO for the Long Island Ants. I would constantly like volunteer for them. I'd be like, hey, do you need any help with anything? I can help with setup, production, stuff like that. And they'd be like, yeah, sure, like have fun. And so it'll lead into the next bullet point, obviously, of like how we came as a team. But essentially, like my drive for wanting to TO was stronger than my drive to compete, which is what pushed all of us to formally meet each other and kind of like come together and be like, hey, we have a vision, and you know, we'll still be competitive, but we'll just be competitive on the other side, you know. And yeah, and then that's where our journey is at right now. So
Wait, no, Pico, you gotta tell the summer splat. The summer splat.
I mean, if we're gonna go on specific highlights, I mean,
The career highlights goes crazy.
LISS 2019. It was me, the Law. Oh
Sig, right?
no, yeah, Sigs, and our fourth was Knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. So there were some complications with Knowledge. Something happened, and so we needed an emergency sub. And it just so happened that Nine Hole Greens was there, but he was just there to commentate. He wasn't there to play. And so we asked him, we're like, hey, do you mind playing with us? He's like, hey, I'm not really that good at the game. Like I played Luna. We were like, you know what? We don't care. We just need a fourth. Like whatever happens this run, you know, it will happen, right? Little did we know that we were gonna pop off that tournament. We beat Super Mean in pools, I think, which got us to top 8. But I remember that moment because that was before that moment kind of propelled me into Panda Nights, because that's when everyone's like, yo, like, who the hell are you? Because we beat Super Meme, you know, we popped off. The Law popped off with Aerospray on Wahoo. I'll never forget that moment. Because I was looking at my map and I said to myself, there's no way he clutches this 1v1. And all of a sudden, the Law's like, oh my God, I got him, guys. We're all like pushing up. We're like, what?
I had the nastiest read. So they had like a really talented shooter on their team. I think his name was V.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that I saw him. I was just like in my head on Wahoo. I was like in the trench on the left side, trying to come up into mid. And in my head, I was just like, I don't know where he is, but I know he's going to be behind me. I just know it. So I literally, without even thinking, I turned around and started shooting, and he was there.
No way.
And I picked him up, and that ended up being like the game-winning clutch.
Dude, I still have that memory. I still have that picture in my memory, man.
It was just such a funny.
Oh my goodness! Because once we won that game, I popped off so loud. I was like, "Screw it, dude! This is my moment. I'm gonna have it. All right."
Oh my God!
But yeah, that again, that's the part of the competitive side that we love, you know. But obviously, we're not popping off anymore. At least on the game wise, more on the TO side. But
and 9 was totally lying. He was so good.
Oh my God, he was good. He was very humbling. All right, I was like, 9, don't shoot yourself short. You were a very good player. But even he still talks about that run to this day. That was such a magical run. But yeah, man.
Dude, I love that. It's so cool to hear that you guys just have known each other for so long, and it wasn't until like you started TOing where it's like I actually get to talk to you more besides a couple DMs here and there or a tournament run here and there.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. That's the beauty of TOing too, you know?
Yeah. You make a lot more connections. And I guess anyone could take this next question I got, but like, what formed Metro Inc? Like, how did the idea of running, you know, a New York local or land to begin with kind of start? You know, who started that ball rolling?
I guess I'll take the lead.
I was gonna offer you take it.
have had a history of being a person who comes up with ideas but doesn't always intend on following through with them.
Feel that.
And so when we all saw each other at the midnight release for Splatoon 3, of course, mind you, like this was when the pandemic was still sort of around. I guess people were still kind of hesitant to be in public and with
Yeah.
other people. And so even then, like it was really nice just to see friendly faces that we had known before from the LAN scene and from comp.
Mhm.
And like I remember seeing Vic there, I saw Mel there. So naturally, when I saw Pico as well, we had just gotten to talking, and we were just dang, like we really missed the community, especially the one here from New York. And I was just like, yeah, like we should bring it back. Like I didn't had no intention. I was like, it was just an idea I just floated, and uh, nothing really came of it. It was just like a thing in passing. But that was also the same night that I met Andy, because Andy was also online for the midnight launch, and uh, I guess like fast forward, we ended up going to the invitational from Nintendo New York for Splatoon 3.
Mhm.
I played in it again with the same team that I played with from the first one, because it was nostalgic. Like so, we ended up making a run, and so it was Pico and I with our friends Evelyn and Little A.
5 a.m. squad.
5 a.m. squad.
Yeah.
So we ended up making our run. We got bronze, and we got our third place with our beautiful medals to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, I think it was Mel and Sigrex and Barry. I don't remember who the fourth was. They got
Fuzzy.
oh, of course,
Yeah.
and Fuzzy got second, and then Andy and Co had gotten first. So
Yay.
we all saw each other again at that tournament, and then that's when, of course, talk of the LAN scene again came back, and I was whispering in Pico's ear again, like, yeah, we should totally bring this back.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, for me, it was like I got super nostalgic during that entire time.
Mhm.
yeah,
Because in my eyes, I was like, man, like the New York City community, they were all together under one roof for the first time since, before COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
So I was getting like a little like warm, fuzzy feelings. I was like, man, like I really like miss this feeling. And then yeah, that's what led to discussions with the law, So
yeah, we were signing posters at that event. I remember it was just like a lot of brought back a lot of memories. So
Mhm.
we floated those ideas. I was talking with Pico a little bit about it, and then again didn't have any intention. So the event passed, and then eventually Pico slides into my DMs, and he was just like, "Yo, I'm thinking of reaching out to this venue. Like, what do you think?" And I was like, "Oh, like this is happening. Like we're moving forward." So I was like, "Well, this was my idea. So like I'll support you. Like if you want me to join in on a call with the venue just to see what's up and like what they can do, like we can try." And around this time, of course, we're all playing Splatoon 3. Like it was just come out, and I had also been playing with one of my other good friends from the Long Island land days, Truck Shepherd,
Mhm.
who back in the day was I had met because they had offered to carpool and help bring me to Long Island, and I befriended him there, and just the most generous, sweetest person. Basically, we'd been playing Salmon Run, and I'd again whispered this idea in his ear about bringing this community back. And again, he took it in a place where I didn't expect it, and made a Discord for a group and invited me and says, "Okay, anyone who's interested, like bring them in." And so that ended up being how the Metro Inc. server began. It was just like all on a whim, and
That's
I ended up
awesome.
bringing in Pico in because I knew we had been talking about it already, and then at that point, Pico has also been talking with Andy about it and knew that he was interested. So that's how Andy got pulled into the server as well. So then it was like the four of us at the beginning.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, a lot of it's like inspired action, I guess is the best way to put it. But,
Yeah.
I still have that message from all those years ago. The first ever message. First ever message, man.
What was it?
yeah, I don't remember what
It was just me saying first, I think.
This guy.
I think that's all
No
it was.
way. No
I think
way.
that's all it was.
Oh my
From what I
god.
remembered, yeah.
Dude.
And then of course I feel like the final piece to like the origin was Andy bringing in Jay and Rada. And Andy, I guess you could speak more to that, but
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how that idea came in. I do remember Pico was very gatekeepy at the start with getting
Oh,
accepted.
I
Um,
was so gatekeepy.
it's definitely about like you don't
Oh
want
god.
your
Yeah,
org
no,
to be
absolutely.
bloated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I, I'm trying to think. I think they actually reached out to me about it.
hmm,
If there's anything that they could do to help out, they'd be down. And I'm like, yeah, you guys might be able to help out actually. Um, and then yeah, we talked about it. Pico was like, wait. And then I'm like, no, hold up, bro, relax.
I was like, wait a minute.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let's think about this for a second, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's
Let's
make sure. I don't want a 20 person org here, all right?
let's cook, and we let them in, and they cooked and
Oh,
continued to cook.
they absolutely did.
Jay and Raj are
Nice.
artist goats. Um, Jay created the gala character for us, and Radish creates the posters for our events. So I'm glad.
yeah, and the graphics from our earlier events for the stream.
Yeah, good time. I mean, for me also, it's like how I got into it with Juan and Law and Pico. It was I know Pico messaged me about it like sometime in October when they made the server.
Mhm.
And the whole time I'm thinking I was having the ideas too. Like, well, there's no lands going on and people are starting to do stuff outside. There's no what do you call it, GSM, the people that used to do the summer splats.
Mhm.
So there's kind of a void that needs to be filled. But I don't know, I wasn't really game until I saw Pico getting it all set up with everyone. Because I like if I feel like if I'm gonna join something, I want to be with people that are also like equally motivated to you know work on stuff and create things themselves. Because I don't like it if it's like we're kind of like some
Like a
people
group
aren't as serious
project.
about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like you
Yeah,
don't want to be the
absolutely.
person that's like doing everything.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's why I was like, okay, we can definitely do some stuff because everyone here seems pretty motivated and excited about it. And my big thing was compared to the GSM lands was theirs was in Long Island,
Mhm.
and I wasn't able to make it to like a good amount of them because it was a little too inconvenient for me, unfortunately, taking the train there from like in New York City and Queens where I live.
Yeah.
So this time around, I'm like, okay, let's if we can do it in New York City, like proper, like one of the boroughs here, that
Mhm.
would be awesome. So I was like excited to do
And
something with that.
verbatim, Andy said he would do it in a church basement if he had to. Like that was
hey, there was a potential, all right?
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
I'm just saying, get some land switches, some monitors. We're in there, all right?
Get a router, bro. Get some good internet.
Hey,
There
you're
you
good,
go.
bro.
Easy.
Yeah, it'll work out. But also from there too, there was another Long Island land called Coastal Clash, which had happened in January. What was it 24? No, 23, I
Mm,
believe.
23, yeah.
But essentially they were ran by GSM, not GSM, Gen Game,
Mhm.
right? Who was the original production for the GSM lands back in the Long Island, right?
Mhm.
And so, after that land, that's when we were talking with, Gen Game being like, hey, like, it'd be cool if we can collab and get, your production team to come to Brooklyn, be a part of our team. And together we can all just work on these New York City lands. And they were 100% down with it. They're
Mhm.
like, hell yeah, we'll do it with you guys. To Andy's point, like, they were like, yeah, you guys seem motivated. You're ready to work. And we're like, hell yeah, because that's what we aim to do is just bring back New York City land scene. And so eventually, that's how we got, T Mag's face. We got Ducky, and that was sort of like our production side. So we had like the art side, a production side. And then over time, like we've added like a few of our friends, so like Jay, not Radish's Jay, but like another like Jason.
Mm.
And then we added Hunty. And then most recently, oh yeah, and Chicken. We added Chicken because he had amazing like tweet clips that he would like you clip it from the streams, like put it on Twitter. And so we're like, hey, like we need like a bigger social media presence. Like, let's get Chicken on board, and he was 100% down. And then most recently, we brought on Squidnick because he's helped a lot. He's expressed interest in like helping out on the volunteer side. And so that's where our team kind of stands now, for the most part.
You know, it's funny. That's like the first time we announced Squidnick's on the squad officially.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually,
Surprise!
yeah. Wait a minute.
Surprise!
Wait. Surprise!
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
If you want, clip it and put it in the Metrowing Discord.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Clippers. Let's get it.
Right.
So take me through how it was like finding the spot to host these lands, because I can't imagine it was like that easy of like, oh, that place like as the spot, let's just go. Like, how was it trying to find a spot to host these like locals?
You want to hear the funny story?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually the opposite of what you just said.
No way.
It was literally that we found one venue. We said, hey, this venue is perfect. We tried to find other venues in the area, and none of them were like in as much of a prime spot as Brookland was.
Wow.
So funny enough, finding a venue was not that hard. It was just a matter of like, it was the first interview we ever did was with Alec, who's like the head of Brookland. We had discussions about other venues, you know, potentially in like Jersey, more so, not so much in like Long Island, but like more so in like Queens area.
Yeah.
But we
We
just,
also we considered OS as well.
yeah, OS, which is in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
yeah,
Chinatown.
yeah, it's around there. But yeah, we just decided on Brookland. It was the perfect spot. The owner was nice. He was very open to it. And
It was one of the few venues that also had a stage.
oh yeah,
along with
Okay.
it. So,
Yeah.
and I think the way it came into our periphery, I guess, is like my brother and I, growing up, used to go to internet cafes, especially when we would go home to the Philippines and visit with our relatives and our cousins, and they would love going to these LAN centers because it was like the thing to do over there, and we would play like World of Warcraft or something, just something in LAN mode, like we would play CS, and at the time, like I was way too young and I just didn't know what I was doing, and they just beat me up because they were all older than me. But we always had
honestly
some
relatable.
like very fond memories. But that's all to say, like when my brother and I lived maybe like a mile and a half away from Brookland, so I'd never been to the venue, but my brother put it on my radar. He was just like, "Hey, this LAN center opened up nearby." I was like, "No way!" Like I didn't even know they had those really here, like in the States, let alone in New York. And so like I'd known of it, and it just so happened that when we started looking for venues, it was close by enough for me to just like walk by and just check it out. And so like, yeah, just getting to see it, see the space, see that they had the main stage area on top of like their LAN setups. It just felt like a really good fit for what we were trying to do.
Nice. Wow. So
Yeah.
y'all literally had like the best outcome for finding a spot.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it was not without its hiccups,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think we saw that with Big Dapple 1.
Oh
Um,
God, we don't talk about Big Dapple 1.
Yeah,
Well,
Steve.
funny enough, we do,
We do.
but in like
And like the
in a
learning
way that
aspect,
it like
right?
it helped our growth because
Yeah.
of that land. Like,
I mean, Cactus, you could even speak to it if you want, because I'd be curious to know what it was like as someone who attended it. Because we all know, I guess, for those who might not have been there, right? Big Dapple 1 was our first foray into LAN. I should mention we started Metro Inc. when it was 2022.
October
October like
9th
11th or 9th, yeah.
or 11th,
So,
yeah.
so we started the org then, right? We had no idea of when our first event is or what we were even trying to do yet. So
Mhm.
there was a lot of like ideation and like a lot of brainstorming for event names or ideas or things like that, right? Like what was
Yeah.
our scope? Were we trying to do online? Were we trying to just do in person?
Like, what was our
And
name as an org?
yeah, what was the name? So we thankfully had like a lot of like really creative minds in the group, and of course some really talented graphic artists like Pico.
Oh, thank you. I
Because
really
graphic
appreciate it.
design, it's your passion. You
Listen,
have to let
I
them
passed
know.
grade 5 art, all right? So I like
Let's
to thank my
go.
grade 5 art teacher.
Yeah.
Mr. Taloni, if you're out there, I appreciate you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It was like me and Pico cooking up graphics. I think that inspired us to actually find someone to make graphics.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's actually crazy.
There were like 3 of them. We were like, yeah, like no one really said anything about it. Like it's bad. They're just like
No,
no
it was
response.
Truck's comment. Truck's comment was like he posted some image.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
so
like,
graphic design is my passion. Is that what
yeah,
it was?
yeah.
Oh my
And once I
god.
saw that image, I was like, yeah, just get Bada and Radish. Let's get some actual artists, please.
Ain't no way.
See, the secret was we would have Pico draft things up and share it in the group chat, and people would be like, I could do it better."
It was very humbling, to say the least. I was like, man, we're getting places. We'll get there eventually, right?
But basically, all that was happening, and then we found Brookland, we found the venue, and at this point, we're like, okay, we want to host our first event.
Mhm.
And in my mind, I was like, okay, let's get our ducks in a row, let's figure this out. And this is my first time really getting to know Andy, and you should understand that like Andy became power because he's ambitious, and it was something that like I say this as actually an admirer, and I don't know if I really shared this with you, Andy, but like he's always had such like a go-getter mindset. Like he's in like within our dynamic, I think it works because I've always been the person to be like, we should think about this, guys, and Andy's like, no, let's go full
Yeah,
speed.
100%.
He's like, "Send it."
Just full side.
And I think that's why like and Pico is just like the balance between like he keeps us in like all together, but it's like it's that dynamic that has always worked well for us because like in the beginning it was Andy who was just like, we have the venue. I want to do this now. Like let's make an event. And
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're gonna do it next week. I was like, next week. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on.
That's quick, bro. I tend to be like impatient with stuff. I feel like if we can like do something, then let's do it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there are some things that we miscalculated.
I think
but
I think you were right. I think we had to do it regardless. Like we had to do it live. Otherwise, like we wouldn't have been able to troubleshoot us and iterate as quickly as we did.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But basically, yeah, it wasn't just on you. It was just a lot of things that we weren't prepared for. There's a lot of tech involved
Yeah.
when it comes to lands, and it wasn't even just us. Like the venue themselves were
yeah,
not ready for Splatland, and that's like a lot of actually what ended up happening was like there was a lot of internet failures. Like the venue um, struggled to get the network to work with our switches, and a lot of people, and I'm sure you probably had the same issue, right? Like where people's connections wouldn't work, and
Yeah.
we would be sitting there trying to troubleshoot. And like I always think back on Big Dapple, the first Big Dapple as like the meme of the dog in the office with fire everywhere. Like
This is
Oh,
fine.
literally.
this is fine. Yeah, like that's 100%. Like everything that could go wrong ended up going wrong, and it was tough. Like there was just a lot of we didn't know how to troubleshoot,
Yeah.
and we were really in the fire. And yeah, it was ambitious, but I think we just needed to be. But I think my biggest I guess to fast forward, we did not end up finishing the tournament in person. We got to the point where like we barely got through groups, and we were like, well, we it's like 10 p.m. We can't start Top Cut now. Like let's just call it, and we'll save people the strife, because I think it was a Sunday and people had to leave, and it was just like and we were just like, we'll just have to do this online. We'll just have to bite the bullet. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for us as the organizers was that the people who wanted to be there, they wanted to be there. They felt the appetite, like they wanted the community, they wanted to compete. Uh, we we were all in the fire together. It never felt like everyone was like a bunch of Karens just blaming us, right? Like they recognized like, and to that credit, like Cactus, you were definitely one of those people, right? Like you were there from the get go. You saw what it was like, and we've always appreciated your support. And I think on that end of it, like if it wasn't for the support of you and the other like original players who came, we wouldn't have come back and learned from those mistakes. And I think that was for me like one of the first times I got to see what made like someone like Andy like a world class competitor, was that he has such like a growth mindset, right? Like he looked at it and he was like, okay, well, we know what we did wrong. Like let's just not do that the next time. And it sounds so silly, but it was actually exactly how we iterated, and we knew what we wanted to do next. And we came back with Big Dapple too, and I think we smashed it. Like everything that we yeah, like we just not any all of the things we got wrong, like we more or less got it sorted.
And shout outs to, was it K-Bot and Siren? I think the K-Bot offered like a call after the first Big Apple to like give us some advice and stuff. So that was awesome.
Yes, the community support is like you can't underscore how ready people are to like to lift each other up. And I think we were able to see that. And even now, right, like we saw the beginnings of the Splatoon 3, like there's like a LAN server that popped up after that, and like we saw it from like less than 10 people, and now I can't even tell you how many people are in that server.
There's so many people in that server.
It's like there's a new local popping up every day.
I know, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see how everyone helps each other, and now that there's resources where people can literally ask like for any like troubleshooting thing on that server, and you could see how much that support is helping the community grow, right? Like it's the only reason like these local scenes are continuing to pop up, and I think that's one of the things that separates our community from other communities. But yeah, that's how Big Dapples came to be. That's how Metro Inc. came to be. And yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like what Andy was saying, the working with people who are as passionate about something as you are, and who understand the value of it as much as you do, like it's such a refreshing thing. It's not like when you get put into group projects and you're just like, you're it, like you deal with it.
You pick and choose,
So like a huge testament to these guys. Like we've all been in the fire together, and like I wouldn't want to go into battle with anyone else, you know. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Pico, bro.
MC Pico.
What did you just say?
I don't know about that guy, Pico.
Hey,
wow. Wow. I was gonna be like, yeah, Andy's my brother and all.
Damn,
we've been through a lot together, you know. We've been through tough times, but damn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all love.
I do want to like give the competitor like player like perspective that you did bring up a couple of times, Law, and like that's something I love so much about the Splatoon community, is that we all have most people have a similar goal in mind, and that's to grow, and that's to improve, and that's to make something that we want to see be on the next level. And that's why a lot of times you see Splatoon compared to Smash Bros, right? It's because like as of right now, like for the competitive-esque side, it's like most majors that have Smash Bros are getting carried next to now with Splatoon due to like each major we have breaking record numbers. So when I still remember like hearing about the New York LAN, I was like, and I was when I was like deep into Splatoon at that point, like trying to learn everything I could, and I was like, I want to go to this. And like I think that was my biggest thing, especially when the feedback form rolled out, was just seeing how everything that might have felt negative, might have felt like an upset, might have felt like defeating, into a positive. And you guys pretty much already touched on the points, but it's like all those problems that happened the first time, like if they happened again at Big Dapple 2, it was fixed in minutes rather than like an hour. Like the in a sense it was good that everything went wrong that could have went wrong, because now it was known how to fix it, and it was just about being able to fix it fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just wanted to like that's why I loved like just that feedback form in general, because it's like what could be done better. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, for the first LAN, for the first local, just kind of out of the blue with here's what we got. I felt it was great. You had, I think honestly, it was, Popcorn always says it, but like a LAN is kind of like you're there for the people first, the game second. And to me, that's what the first Big Dapple was. It felt like we were there for the people first, the actual tournament came second, and it was just such a good time. And you could see how well it really like felt to people, because I feel like every Big Dapple you guys are breaking numbers of entrants and the amount of time teams will sign up. I mean, Big Dapple 4 had like the cap reached within the first like week that it was announced,
Yeah.
which was insane.
Yep.
So it's really just incredible to see how far the local has come, just from like something that at first was probably seen like, oh man, like this is kind of bad, not sure how things are going. And it's like, no, like everyone was happy it existed, especially how everyone else was kind of probably feeling like that too. I know I was like, just being able to know like there used to be lands and now there's not. But wait, New York now has something that is not that far away from me, coming from Jersey, like an hour and a half train ride, couple subway cars, I'm there. And it's like I'm able to do what I love as my hobby in person and be able to just have that whole like experience. And that's something that I think you, no matter how badly things could go wrong, you can't take away from people, because it's just being able to be in that atmosphere, be in that realm of just playing the game you like with other people that don't live across the country but literally live in your same like state, are just there. And it's just an unreal feeling that, I always say like myself, like for whenever I go to majors, it's like it's an unreal experience. But even for a local too, it's incredible to see this, like how many people truly show up from the New York area, maybe pull up from New Jersey, maybe pull up from Pennsylvania, just to play Splatoon for one day, for like the entire day. Like it's unreal. And
No, but it also should be noted.
yeah,
People do fly in. It's crazy enough.
that's
Like
true
not
too.
even just a gridlock, but like to Big Apple, to the locals. Like people will come in from Canada, from
Mhm.
California, from Florida, and
Yeah.
it's so wild to me. Like I can't believe. Like, I'm gonna make like a little bit of a deep cut reference here, but like if you know like the Field of Dreams, it's like if you build it, like people will come, and I think it definitely
What a
helps, of
great
course,
reference.
being in a place like New York, right? But
Yeah.
like yeah, like we created this community, and yeah, selfishly, like it was a little bit for us, right? Like we
Mhm.
wanted to, even if we weren't competing, we loved getting to see people compete and live. We get to live vicariously through people, and we know what the community meant to us before. So to be able to foster that has always been, I guess, like the cherry on top, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, like it's amazing to me how people recognize how special it is, just to be able to spend that time with other people who appreciate the game as much as
Yeah.
we do, and to even travel for it. It's such a humbling thing on our end, and we've always used it to drive us and to keep making the experience better.
Yeah, honestly, like it. I don't know. I love land play way more than online play.
Things work.
It works. There's more energy, more
Yeah.
chemistry with your teammates. Like some of my favorite moments playing the game have been like crazy land sets, so close, and then you somehow pull through, pop off. There's nothing like it, honestly.
Mhm.
And I just want like to like what we're doing. I want to be able to like let people have that like chance to feel that way too. It's just awesome.
And it's like it's that sense of community, right? Like I talk a lot about community when I'm with these guys,
Mhm.
because I value that aspect of lands where, even if you're not on the competitive side, you're just here to have fun and like socialize with your friends that you might have only socialized with online, right?
Yeah.
And now you guys are face to face, and you're like, wow, like, this is a different environment. And just that's what I try to focus on is like, are you guys having fun? You are great, like I care about your experience here, whether it's casual side or competitive side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that philosophy is why, people like love these lands is because we're focusing so much on that community, bringing everyone together, which is why I was happy. Like after Big Dapple won, I was expecting a lot of like negative feedback. People were like, "Yeah, we're not coming
Bro,
back.
I,
Like
I,
this
I
is an
was,
awful land."
dude, I was ready for them. I was like,
Oh my goodness, dude!
No,
if,
but
if they came, bro, oh my god.
I was so scared. But then when we actually got the negative aspect of that, where people were like, "Yeah, like we're gonna come back. You guys are doing great. We want to see you guys grow." We were like, "Wait, what? Like you guys are actually being really positive about this." And that's when we realized, like, oh, like the community just wants to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of like motivated us to like keep pushing further. Between Big Apple 2, 3, even going into our major gridlock, right? Like
Yeah.
we always emphasize growth within the community. We want you to have fun, and that's what like motivated us, right? So,
and the critics were totally there, to your point. Like when we announced Big Dapple 2, I remember people commenting, it's like, "Oh, great, another tournament that's going to end up online for the top cut." And like I remember those comments. And,
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and of course it's like the minority. There were definitely way more people in support and excited about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it
Yeah.
was just so much more surprising when we ended up having more entries in Big Dapple 2 than there was the first. And I was just afraid people would never come back, and it ended up growing from there. And uh, I was just grateful that we had the opportunity to do it again and do it better. And um, yeah, then we started. I think two really solidified the community of it, and then I think that's when we really started to see like some of the mainstays of the competitors, of the people who've come back time and again, right, and who've helped make the community like what it is. And yeah, it's really cool to see.
It's like kind of funny, like I guess expecting the hate coming is sort of like that feeling came from seeing how like other people react to other tournaments that like they do bad or like the staff does something bad, and then you see like a bunch of shit posts on Twitter, a bunch of people flaming on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that's where it came from. And then you know, I was a little surprised that we got like one, like very few haters. It's even if it was like one person, for me at least, it's like it's like you want to prove them wrong.
Yeah. No,
Like
Yeah.
if it's just
absolutely.
one hater, like okay, bro, like
Oh, we were motivated as
oh
hell.
yeah,
Like, yeah, we're gonna make the second one way better. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna prove to you guys that like we want to make this work. So
yeah.
You did
Yeah.
mention gridlock. Where did the idea to create the 2-day major regional come from for New York?
I mean, I think we wanted to do
Yeah.
that like initially. We're
Mhm.
like, since we're like sort of taking the spot of GSM as the New York Lens, like the 2-day event would come at some point.
Yeah.
We I think we've got working on it when we merged with Gen Game,
Okay.
and like their team there joined us, and we could actually flesh it out. Like they had their own history of working events, so they would help us out a lot, like how to build a gridlock. We didn't even coming up with the name and branding for gridlock was a whole thing too. It took like a couple meetings, if I
There's
remember.
entire meetings just on the name alone.
I believe it.
And even logistically, right? Like the scale that we needed to keep growing from a tech perspective, right? It really helped when we were able to merge with the Coastal Path Keeps with Ducky and Face and T-Mag, right? And um, Face has been so generous and so like such a crucial part of like the tech side. Like he's donated and allowed us to or lent us his equipment, right? And
Mhm.
there's so many times where being able to to use those extra docks and the LAN adapters and all the setups has allowed us to be able to have the size of the tournaments that we've had. And of course, in the beginning, I'm sure you remember, we used to have everyone bring in their own docks and
Yes.
any
Yeah.
LAN adapters they have. And of course, we'll still ask every now and then for LAN adapters just in case, because you never can need too many LAN adapters.
Yeah.
But
Dude, we have like 60 at this point. Like us
Oh
and
yeah,
you combined.
now we have so many.
yeah, but that's the cool thing to think back now, right? Like we after every event, we've been able to like take some of the earnings and put it back and just keep investing in more of the infrastructure and the equipment. And it's something that sometimes now we can take for granted that like we're able to do that. And it's like in the beginning it was um the audio equipment. Oh my gosh, we haven't even touched on the audio equipment, right? Like working with TM1s, like you have to understand TM1s, like the ones we have are like one model and they came out in 2013.
Hmm.
Meaning like they're not manufactured. You can't just buy them new. Uh, like you have to find them through the grapevine. And I remember because we would do our meetings on the weekly or monthly, and every time we'd start the meeting by going onto eBay and searching like, is there a TM1 online? And I, we couldn't even afford it at the beginning properly. And I remember this truck and his boyfriend had basically donated the money to be able to purchase some of the equipment. So like if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have like the capital to start it up. And I think it's like a lot of those types of generous like acts for the sake of like the community, for the sake of building this up was like a lot of what we owe for even getting to where we are now. So yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
hard to understate or underscore that, but
Hmm.
It was
go ahead.
more than us. It was more than us. A lot of people that you probably don't hear about went into building these events for us. You know, we should probably make like a little credits poster. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
We should, right?
And also like props to Brookland for in the beginning, right, for being open to it. And like they were a venue that specialized in Smash tournaments. So
Mhm.
like they weren't unfamiliar with Splatoon or the Nintendo scene, and um, they were really open to growing other grassroots scenes. And so they really helped us out in the beginning. And that was like before we even worked with Gen Gaming. They were our production. They had their own production team called
Mhm.
12V, and like they were learning just as much as we were. They definitely. I mean, of course, you think of Smash, you can have what like 8 players on one TV, and now
Yeah.
you need 8 screens for one game. Like it's like a completely different dynamic, right? And uh, they totally grew with us, and like were in the fire right there with us in the beginning. So I like totally can't understate that as well. But
Where did like the names for like Big Dapple and Gridlock come from? Like was it just like one person said the name and it's like, yeah, we're gonna go with that, or was it just kind of like a group value effort?
oh man,
Yeah.
There were lots of prototype names.
Brainstorm sessions were had.
Yeah.
we did have a brainstorm session.
Wait, what were some of the names that didn't make the cut?
Uh, did we do Deep Sea Metro?
Deep Sea
Uh,
Metro was
So
one of them.
hey,
Oh my god, I love that.
I have it. Yeah, we had well for organization. Yeah, we really liked the idea of Deep Sea Metro,
Hmm.
but we were afraid that naming it something that's already a name used in the game that like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
we were thinking about copyrights, we were thinking about like all these things, and
Yeah, fair.
so we wanted to like take from it without being like too on the nose. And so of course like for us it was like tri-state area, we wanted to represent New York City, we Deep Sea Metro, so we took it a step and we said like maybe in the future we would name an event Deep Sea Metro, but that never ended up happening. um, and so we ended up adopting Metro Inc.
Okay.
as the org name. So like we just liked the way it sounded and thought it was appropriate enough where like you can identify us and you would know who we are. And we did our due diligence and went to Google and was like, does anyone else use this? And there was like a printing company or something.
Yeah.
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 They're fine.
A tattoo parlor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fine.
They're not losing out.
But some of the names I have here was like Underground, Squiddy Streets, Yeah,
Oh
Deep
yeah.
Sea Metro. Those were like some of the earlier ones. But
Yeah.
I think it was it Truck who came up with the Big Dapple? I want to say.
Uh, it's a good question. I
I
just
don't
remember we were
remember.
spitting names.
I want to say it was. I want to say it was Truck who's like floating that around, and I just remember we just kept on coming back to it. There was something about it that was just like this could work. Like this is like a good spin on it. And of course, I think the irony is not lost on us that right now we're on a Dapple podcast, a Dapple Productions podcast. So I remember we had launched the name for the Big Dapple, and uh, I think someone had come in like asking, he's like, "Hey, so about that name," we were like, what are you talking about?"
What?
I don't know what you mean.
It's the Big Apple.
Yeah, technically New York was here first.
Oh
Respectfully,
my.
respectfully.
Yeah, that's
We're a history
crazy.
lesson. Like,
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's how the Big Dapple came to be.
Okay.
Gridlock. Oh man, what? So we did want to do
I
Deep Sea Metro at first,
Mhm.
but go ahead.
I know for a gridlock, it was we definitely thought about like what we wanted the event to be to represent,
Hmm.
and so we're like 2-day majors or 2-day events, regionals, whatever, special events.
Yeah.
Uh, they we just compared it to like the ones that were in the past between like Genesis or LT or not LT, Smash and Splash or
Squid Storm.
yeah, Squid Storm. They all had like one word
Yeah.
names. So we're like, okay, that's our like constraint, and then I think from there we just try to like see what hit. Like, well, then I don't those brainstorm
I
sessions.
I actually
Basic.
I do. I was the one who came up with the name, and I remember it because I was sitting in my parents' kitchen, staring out the window, and the window had like the crosshairs, and I was just like, "Oh, those look like streets." I was like, "It looks like a gridlock." I was like, "Gridlock." I was like, "That sounds amazing." I was like, "That's like a great name."
Uh,
And I think the idea from that I ran with in my head was that uh, to me, like whenever I think of gridlock from like a fictional perspective, it's like Godzilla, right? Like in the city, all these like um, big monsters that will come in and shut down the streets and
Hmm.
like fight over like with King Kong in
Yeah.
Manhattan, right? So like I always thought that the sort of picture of it was always so cool that to think of like a big major where people would fly in from all over and go toe to toe and shut down the streets of New York. Uh, like that's for me where like good luck came. I think we played around with the concept a little bit over the years where it's become more of like a street party, like a summer street party
Hmm.
sort of feel to it. But I think they all apply. But that's kind of like where the name
yeah,
sparked for me.
I remember like we were like just drafting it, coming up with stuff. We were also considering like the artist perspective from like how would they interpret it, like how would they like what would they draw for it, what would be the branding for it. That was definitely a big part.
Yeah.
Good
Hmm.
luck. Weren't we drawing the good luck logo, and then
Yeah,
they
we
cooked
did.
something.
oh,
It,
we did. We pulled out that grade
They-
5 math or grade 5 art skills, you know. So
it was the tweet. The tweet that went out was like, "Who guess who drew which one?" Oh, I forgot.
so good.
And it was just like circles. So
yeah, we drew our logos, and maybe I think it was Jay that made the actual good luck logo. Uh,
yeah,
just
yep.
cooked our drawings in the dust.
Like the abbreviation worked too, right? It was GL, which was like good luck, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So everything just like worked out. And for me personally, honestly, from my perspective, it was literally the one was like, "Hey, what about gridlock?" I was like, "Sold. We're doing it. It rolls off the tongue. It sounds good,
Yeah.
catchy enough. Let's just go with it." You know.
It's
Yeah.
memorable. Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to the other names, I remember one name's like the L train, which was like
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it. No, it was
yeah,
like take the L. Take the L was
yeah,
oh,
good. I mean,
take the L.
take the L, yeah. Yeah, but no.
it still could. Maybe one day. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe one day. That was still on the back burner, but
For I guess for like context of people not in New York, the L train goes straight to the venue, that we have our events at. So
Yep.
that's why we'd call it take the L. Like, oh, you're taking the TL train, and also you're taking you're
Yeah,
losing,
literally
but-
riding on that train is actually taking an L. But
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah.
that's an experience you gotta see for yourself.
It's part of the land experience, honestly. Like traveling on that train, it's part of the whole overall experience. So
Dude, the worst was like Big Dapple 4 when I had to try to take it. They closed like half of
Oh,
the subway to get into
Yeah.
it. So I was like, what the fuck, bro? This was my way there.
yeah,
I was
we
pissed,
looked at the
bro.
report before the land, and we were like, "Damn, this half the train is shut down."
Yeah. I was
What are
so
we gonna do?
mad, bro.
Bro, we better launch our own shuttle bus.
Right?
Forget about it. How much do those cost? Let's see.
That's a good question. Just
lot of money.
carpool everyone for the shuttle.
I take tips.
Oh my god.
I think this is wild, dude.
Oh yeah, we'd always volunteer. If anyone wants to fly in, I'm putting this out now. Pico will be happy to host you.
Okay. Wait a minute.
On a first come first serve basis.
Yes. Yeah. On a first come first serve basis. My house is small. There's sometimes a small cat roaming around my house. So
It's a New York experience, bro.
yeah, you know.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. Hey, listen, I make my payments in the trailers for y'all. So,
Yeah.
Yo,
Oh,
let's go.
the Cactus trailers. Legendary.
would have had one for this one, bro, but I had no content to work with.
Unfortunately.
So
We did, yeah. That's oopsie. My computer needs work, by the way. For all the haters, aka Mudkip. Talking about uploading the VOD.
Oh,
Bro,
eventually we'll get there, dude.
Eventually.
I need a new computer or someone else has to do
Hey,
it.
don't you work at like a micro center, bro?
I mean, yeah.
Damn.
Okay, yes. I am in talks of upgrading my PC, but
Okay.
It is a lot of data to like to transfer.
I
and
can only
upload.
imagine.
I am not splurging right now. Though.
Yeah, no, it's valid.
We'll get that.
So as the local gets bigger and bigger, right? I mean, I'm expecting probably this by the end of like this week or next week, Big Dapple 5 to probably be pretty close to like the team cap or something like that. As people slowly figure out like they're gonna be able to make it or not. What are some worries that y'all may have had for when it's considering that it keeps growing, or maybe that you have already had or currently facing, when it comes to hosting these events every, couple times a year?
It's definitely been a worry for a while, honestly. Just not having enough space. We've had to make a new station out of thin air at the stage. What do you call it? The main stage area. And we pretty much maxed out what we can do with the venue.
Mhm.
If like for a Big Dapple, we have thought about other places that can fit us. So we're definitely working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we considered Madison Square Garden, but you know,
Barclays Center was up there as well. Um,
Yeah, Javits. Yeah.
yeah, Javid's was there. Great potential.
we thought they were too small though, so we wanted to think a little bigger.
Oh yeah.
Let's just rent out the Nintendo store.
Oh yeah.
If someone has the link for that, then let me know.
Right.
Yeah, we are totally open to any angel donors that would like to we could just open up our own Metro Inc. land center. How about that?
Right.
Yo, banger.
What if we just
actually.
got a warehouse and just made it our own land center, dude?
No, but really though, to your point, Cactus, it's been crazy to see how many people have been coming more and
Yeah.
more each time, and to the point where like the last Big Dapple back in the spring, we had a team cap at 16, which is normally what we can accommodate, and there was just so many entrants that we had to try to expand it. We had to do what we could, and we added like a whole nother setup to a venue that already had pretty much maxed out its setups. So we had to like add screens, and we basically ended up being able to host 20 teams, which wasn't for our benefit at all, because 20 teams is such an awkward amount of teams to
Mhm.
host for a tournament. You can't
Yeah.
ever really cut it up cleanly. So like, just know that like we do our best to try to include and bring in as many people as we can. And of course, we would love to keep expanding if the interest is still there. And yeah, I mean, we're still searching. We're looking for other places that could house us and could help us expand. But you know, this is a good open call. If anyone has any suggestions, slide into our DMs. We are definitely open to it. We love Brookland for where it is. I think it's become a staple
Mhm.
in terms of our identity. But we also recognize, like, if we want to do it bigger and better, like we have to keep our options open. So
Dude, I remember I was trying to figure out the format for the 20-team Big Dapple 4.
Oh my
It-
God,
it-
that
we went
meeting
through
was rough.
we went through so many different formats and like slicing up the teams
We
so
were
many
so
different ways.
confused.
and
We had
mind you,
Face helping us out too. It was, bro. It was nuts.
we've been through the fire, and I've never seen Andy closer to his breaking point than that call.
Bro. Yeah.
No, truly.
That's crazy. I mean, I can imagine how stressful it must have been.
Yeah, because it's like our deadlines, the way you put it, it's around a week before the event. So then the
Mhm.
teams get fully formed like 5, 6 days before. So then we have to figure how we slice it up very quickly, get the schedule out, make sure like the broadcast is good. It all happens in like the last week for us. So I mean, maybe we could do deadlines early, but I don't know. That's just how it was.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, what are some of your favorite and least favorite parts of hosting these locals?
You want to go down the list?
Yeah, let's go on the list. Let's start with Power.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
start with I'll start with the worst.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we
Least.
can end on a high
Yeah.
note.
Yeah. Yeah. And on a high note with it.
Well, I just talked about one of them, but
Yeah.
one of the worst parts. Honestly, that's probably up there with one of the worst parts. It's like getting the seating correct,
Mhm.
um, getting the schedules up. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, least favorites. I mean, no one's ever going to be happy with your map list,
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
like
Honestly,
ever.
bro.
Tico.
Especially when you put bluefin zones in there.
Yeah,
And
bro.
anger an entire community. Yeah.
Dude, I come to terms to that. It's like it's our map list.
Oh, it's
Deal,
the
deal with
biggest
it.
meme ever.
You know, I say this is a least fave, but it's kind of a secret, just actual fave. Um, but one of the things I learned earlier on from our first events was that, like, as a TO,
Mhm.
people will ask you anything
Yeah.
and everything they could possibly think of, and it has nothing to do with the event. Like I swear, like, they just think because you're in charge, like, you can answer it. I remember people would come in with suitcases, like, what can I do with this? And I was like, what do you mean? Why do I have to deal with your suitcase?
Yeah.
I remember that one.
My
That was
God.
funny.
But it was so funny because I remember going to the Brookland staff and the 12G production and mentioning something like that to them, and they're like, "Yeah, that happens." I was like, "Oh, this is a thing. Like, this is what happens to TOs." But I secretly enjoy it because it's like it's those weird inside jokes that make you realize, like, you're a part of this community, that, like, of people who host it. And even in the Splat local TO server, uh, there there is a welcome message, right? And I remember it's like, oh, what was it? We're like, we come here just to suffer, or there was like a line that they had used, and it was like something so relatable. Like, none of us are here because, how do I explain it? It's like, because it's just purely fun, right? Like, if it was
Yeah.
just for the fun of it, like, we would just be playing video games in our basement, like it's just something so much deeper than that. And uh, yeah, I think even if it's pain, even if people are constantly
Oh,
nagging at us for every little thing.
Yeah.
What if with their suitcases?
I know the new worst thing. Telling people to change their names because it's way too long.
Oh yes, I love the pink.
Oh, classic. For me, the worst part about hosting a local
Mm.
is being tired the entire time. I've drinking so much coffee every LAN. I've done everything I could with each and every single LAN, and at every single LAN, I'm always on the ground, looking like I'm ready to fall asleep. Like,
And I have the photos to prove it.
yeah, and we have photos from every single LAN of every moment where I've been like, man, I just need a nap right now. Like I am tired. But it's because like, yeah, we're running around the entire LAN, like you're constantly moving, you're never standing still.
Mhm.
And so just that it requires a higher amount of energy, right? But it's an energy that you have to like use in order for the LAN to run smoothly, right? So so while it is like, yes, it's like my least favorite part, it's like a necessary part that
Yeah.
has to happen. Which is why like I meme about it, about me being tired at the end of the day, like every single time. Because I know it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
And every single lane, I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen this lane. I'll be fine. I got I got 3 cups of coffee this time, right? Like, what could go wrong? Yeah, no.
Yeah, and
Crashing out.
you definitely like forget to eat, and there's
Oh,
like
okay. That's the
Yeah.
second worst part. Is
Yeah.
forgetting to eat.
Oh,
Like,
man.
I
It's
love
weird,
food.
yeah.
Yeah, I love food, but it's like, how do I manage to forget to eat food? Like,
It's
Mhm.
weird because for me, it's like I don't even have like the appetite. Like if you put food
Yeah.
in front of me, like
you
during the
don't.
events, I'm like, yeah, I'll take a
You don't
bite,
even
but then I'm
think
like,
about
that's
it.
it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe need some to inject something. I don't know.
My idea is wearing cargo pants and just hiding a bagel in your pants. That way, you know, just out of nowhere, you'd be like, "Oh, I got a bagel here."
Take
Start
a bite
munching on
every
it.
once in a while.
All right, there are my carbs. Get back in there. Audio issues. All right.
But I guess for the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
My favorite is just the response we get. It's like you just can never anticipate how passionate people will be and how they'll bring it. And I could even point this to you, Cactus, with the freaking clappers. like, like
Oh my god.
Whoopsie.
no, and it was actually great to just see how everyone was so on board and how much life it kind of brought to the event. And
Mm.
not necessarily that like the life wasn't there, but it was just like a way to channel it, right? And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that like our events, and mind you, I haven't really been able to travel out to the other ones, but from what I can tell, at least from ours, is that the doesn't matter how small the audience is, we're going to be loud. We're going to be
Mhm.
cheering for every point, and we try to make it a point to like to build that hype. And I think people feel that people enjoy being a part of it, even if it's like 10 people, which isn't true. It's usually more, but it's like it sometimes can feel that way where like it feels like the whole room is packed and all eyes are on you, and you can kind of create those hype moments. And it's like those are the things that even as a photographer, getting to capture it, getting to see people pop off, it's so much fun.
It got so loud in Gridlock. I actually had to move back a bit. It was that
I was
loud.
shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay, great job, community. Way to go.
There was a lot of people at Gridlock too. So
Yes, yeah.
Massive.
Least favorites is I'm not as young as I used to be, and trying to compete and organize
Rough.
is so I like trying to have energy without even competing at the end of the day is already tough.
Mhm.
And especially like Gridlock was the first time I had learned, and we knew this because we would always go into the locals being like, it's a 1 day event and we're already drained. How the hell are we going to do that back to back for 2 days?
Yeah.
And so going into these Gridlock events, like we learned a little bit better about how to pace ourselves, how to make sure we're eating, uh, learning to plan in more breaks if we remember to. uh, Thing, yeah, it's there were times I learned that when I'm so exhausted, I can only really play like either junior because you just paint the ground, or you I could play Stamper because it's my most played weapon, but all of my shots will more or less be instinct, and so if I land one, then there's all muscle memory. Outside of that, like I can't see, like I can't like
Yeah.
focus. It's just crazy, but
Yeah, playing a T-Wing's rough. I remember after first gridlock, I was playing in finals, and then we lost to Sonder, and then I just had to lay down because
Yeah.
for some reason my heart was hurting. I'm like, what the hell?
Dude,
Splatoon
yeah.
heart attack.
Yeah, like what's
Same,
going
bro.
on, dude? So I just had to lay. I guess my body was just done.
Yeah.
Well, that was me during Big Dapple 4. There was a point where I literally just sat on the ground and I was just eating my fries on the ground. And Juan and Hunty, they look over and they're like, "Yeah, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Give me 2 minutes, like, because my head was hurting and I was tired, you know. And so,
Yeah.
and there's also this other picture that I think Juan's brother took, where I had my hoodie on and like we were on the main stage, but like it was that moment where I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to talk to anyone." I don't want to see anyone. I just want to put my hoodie on. Just no one talk to me. I am exhausted. Like I need to focus on this match. But
Hmm.
yeah,
yeah, it takes like a special type of training to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
maybe one day.
One
hopefully.
day, one day, sir.
Oh, so I guess our favorite parts. Huh?
Yeah, I was about to say, Law gave theirs. What about you, Power Pico?
You go first.
Yeah, I can go first. Personally, I just love seeing everyone smile. Right,
Mhm.
as corny as it sounds, um, because of the nature of like my current job, where like I work at a gym and I manage like classes, right? And the
Mhm.
whole purpose of my job is to make sure that people are happy. Because if people aren't happy, then they're not going to come back to the gym, right? And they're going to cancel
Yeah.
their memberships. So I kind of apply that same philosophy to the lands, where it's like I strive to like make sure that like everyone's having fun, they're smiling, spectators having fun, the vibes are great, and just seeing how every land, just seeing people smile and like collectively everyone's like having fun, that warms my heart, and it makes like, you know, the tiredness of running the land, right? It makes it worth like all the pre-planning that we have to do in advance for these lands. Like it makes the whole build up to the lands worth it, just to see those like simple smiles of people in the venue, right?
Mhm.
People enjoying it. Um because that's what we want to work towards, right? We want to
Yeah.
see the community happy, and like seeing your vision come into light, right? And like actually seeing it in person and seeing people enjoy your vision, like that's what matters the most to us. And that's like that's my most favorite thing of just locals in general. Just like I love the energy, man. So the fact that we've been able to get here from humble beginnings, right?
Mhm.
Up until this point, and people are still smiling, and even like new people are coming in to our scenes, you know, every single day, and like they're smiling along with just like the people that were here since Big Dapple 1. um that's my most favorite moment, honestly.
Yeah, like when, because in my opinion, Splatoon is as a scene, it's a little hard to break into just because
Mhm.
it's a team game,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work unless you have 3 other people with you. So when it comes to lands, there's always that one person that's like, oh, they came alone, so they're not really too familiar with the scene, but sometimes they get paired up with a squad, and then they play, and some people come back to our events after that, and that feels really good because that just shows that they're like, they're able to find like a group of people to play with that they have fun with
Yeah.
and friends to have fun with.
Oh
That's
my gosh, the
one of
young
my favorite
ones.
parts.
Oh, the
Yeah.
young ones, dude, they're the best.
Oh man, those two, I forgot their names, but the two that gave me the Sabaro signs,
Yes.
I have them framed right above me. Like that's how much those two signs meant to me, because I was like, man, these kids are having the time of their life right now. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
they showed up to one of our earlier events with their parents, and they were just checking out the events as spectators, and they loved the event so much that the kids wanted to come back the next one and actually compete, and they did. And I remember they were like losing every single game they played, but they were having so much fun doing it.
Mhm.
And I remember, was it Magic? Who ended up
Yes.
playing with
Yeah.
them
Yeah, it
on
was
day
Magic.
two,
Yes.
and he was saying how like how great their attitude was and their mindset and how willing to learn they were. And I think that part of it is always so cool just to see. And even like all the people that don't know what the game is and come to the venue, because the venue is also part restaurant and bar, so people will come in from the street and come in and watch, and they'll have the games going on the big screens, and it's always cool to have people just come up and like ask about the game and just learn about it for the first time. And yeah, that part is
That's why,
it's
like,
cool to share. Cool to
yeah,
share.
that's why I try to socialize with as many people as possible, like specifically the spectators too, right? Because like I want them to feel engaged, right? Like they might be scared because they're not really used to a LAN setting, right? Which is why they might not be competing.
Mhm.
And so like you'll see me the entire time during LAN, just like walking up to random people, be like, hey, like how you doing? Like you're enjoying your experience, blah blah blah. And a lot of people will come back to me in like DMs and be like, hey, you know, thanks for talking to me at the LAN. Like it made me feel welcome because like I was a little nervous. It's my first LAN setting. Um, and again, like moments like that is like it makes it worthwhile for us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. There's for me, like I can't even name one single like good thing because there's just so many
Oh
for
yeah.
Big Dapple and there's just the New York scene. But I think my favorite, honestly, sometimes just also has to be just finding out like how far people come from when they
Yes.
go to these
Yes.
events. Because it's like I've ran into a couple people that say they drove up from Jersey. I talked to someone once. I think they said they came from like somewhere in like the center of the state. And I'm just like, you came all this way for a 1 day local. Like that's incredible. I just love hearing how far people are willing to go to support the Splatoon scene and just the locals in general. I mean, it's incredible. I love seeing it. And just when you think it's just gonna be people in just the area, they surprise you every time.
Honestly, yeah, that part it puts like good pressure on me. Like if
Hmm.
someone's coming out all the way from there, like it makes me want to give them like a great experience. That's like it's so surprising how many people come. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, and I think like selfishly, right? Like as a queer person, as someone who recognizes how diverse and inclusive this community is, like it's such a personal thing for me to want to champion this type of community, and it's a lot of what drives me to keep creating these spaces because I think it's like the kind of thing I wish I had when I was a kid, and to
Hmm.
see people come in here and not necessarily have to think about the queerness as like the forefront of it, right? But like knowing that you can be different and you can still be around people that enjoy the same things as you and not have to think twice about it is such a free thing that like I hope people will continue to be able to do and not have to think twice. Like I think that for me was like the most rewarding part of it and just getting to see and somehow every event still like more and more colorful and more
Yeah.
uh, vast in its expressiveness. Like people really just are so ready to share that, and like
Hmm.
even now, like people are starting to bring in their cosplays and just like
No
get as
courageous stuff.
creative as they can, right? Like
Yeah.
it's cool.
I love seeing the weapons when people bring in
Oh
the
Oh, the
weapons.
yes,
weapons,
those are
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
see a giant ballpoint. Someone has to have it.
Okay, that thing is that is huge. By the way.
I
Like, that's
know
a
it is, but
big
someone's got to
one.
have it.
Yeah.
Like,
Shout outs to Ren for bringing the snipe riders and the E leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it first? First had brought in a Splatana during the Little Dapple, our last Little
Yes.
Dapple. Which shout outs to Splatanas, best weapon out there. Thank you.
that's debatable, but I mean,
The
I mean,
crowd goes mild.
we got ballpoint, we got CRB.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
get into it.
So I know Big Dapple and like Gridlock, like they're already like from like a player perspective and competitive of standpoint, like they seem just so successful. Like you guys are doing such an incredible job. It's these events are incredible every time, and I love like there are certain things you can only do over and over again where it's just like it starts to get boring. And to me, it feels like I don't get that from these events like this because I feel like it's always unique. I think it also helps as a community almost every time. It's like you got the new folks, you got the folks that keep coming every time. So, are there any hopes you have for the future of Big Dapple and Gridlock or Metro Rank as a whole?
Mm, I mean, Gridlock, ideally, it's the first things we want like a bigger space,
Mm-hmm.
and then with a bigger space, gives us more room to like come up with other ideas that we think people would like to see. So honestly, just getting that like sorted out would like be a big thing. Because I don't know, I still feel like we can still do a bunch of stuff with Brookland too. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's ideas that are still there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking at least.
Yeah, I mean, I know Andy had mentioned he wanted to like incorporate, I guess, some more competitive elements like stat collecting and things of that nature. I think it'd be cool to sort of find those little ways that we can level up, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and not even necessarily in the ways people would expect, right? But just to make the events have a little more value to them. And something we were toying around with during the last Little Dapple was um, finding ways to help players improve. And we've been toying around with like some coaching opportunities or ways that we could start incorporating it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the kind of conversations we've had in the past is kind of cool because when you talk about grassroots, right,
Yeah.
and this type of community scene, like you try to think about what separates us from the professional sports, right,
Mm-hmm.
like the established, like between their broadcasts and their sponsorships and all of those, like how do you get from point A to point B? And for us right now, right, we're starting to see the infrastructures really build out, and I think it's one of the things that's really been great with Sendo and all like the competitive resources. But I think as those grow, we need to continue to see if there's ways for us to like link up with the other local scenes and those local communities and find ways to incentivize people to collaborate together and kind of make it a bigger network, kind of in
Mm-hmm.
the ways that you see like the NBA having their local cities. Like I know Andy was the one who was championing Region Rumble from the last Gridlock, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we kind of love this idea of people representing their areas and kind of growing from that perspective. And I think it's a challenge not just for us, but for the scene at large to find a way to, yeah, to not just like build up the players that exist, and we, of course, to invite new players and grow them as well. And we've seen this with Low Inc. But I think even on a land basis, yeah, I think it would be cool to just find more systemic ways of building up players, like building up coaching, building up trainings and things like that. Like to me, those are some of the ways that we can find more development, I guess,
Yeah.
more consistency in the growth, rather than people just coming back time and again and like not learning much from it, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can go on and on. I'm sorry, but the
No, that's
philosophy
fair.
of it is
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. It's cool to
Yeah. To
be like at
improve.
this level and to see grassroots really grow. Yeah.
Yeah, even the in-person coaching was awesome. Like I was able to like I was doing the coaching and it's just like being there is like I've done online coaches before and I don't know, just being in person made it easier to point out like this part of a map or this part of the like what they did wrong, emphasize certain things.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I hope to do it more. If we get the chance, we shall see.
Still waiting on my like Big Dapple card pack. Remember when y'all were gonna do that?
Hard pack.
That was a pretty cool idea.
Our resident graphic designer is actually very much responsible for that. So Pico, take it away.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Cactus. I don't remember what you're talking about.
You don't remember
Yeah,
like the
man.
special card packs that like had special cards about like characters from like just Big Apple?
Oh, oh, those packs.
Yeah.
Why did we not do them?
I feel like there's like whenever we forget to do something, it's because there's other
There's a valid
ideas
reason
that just
behind
pop
it.
out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, that's honestly probably what it was. Just other
No.
ideas took priority in that
Yeah, because
moment.
when
And
we
they
were
were
talking about like
yeah.
minor things like that, just popped in my head like, oh yeah, maybe it was like card packs.
But yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It is a cool concept, though. I'm not gonna lie, but
There's so many cool concepts that we could do.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
All right, Pico, get to it.
You got it, sir. You got it.
Let's cook.
We're always cooking.
But
That's the beauty of
I'm
this.
excited to see what y'all have cooked up for Big Apple 5. And we're almost there. What, like 2.5 weeks away?
Yeah, we are.
No, it's coming up.
Damn.
It's coming up
we're
really
so
fast. Yeah.
close.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah, it's already almost time.
Ooh,
I gotta
it
get
is that
practicing.
time. I gotta get ready.
I know.
Hope you're-
Sorry, you just immediately stressed us out. I hope you realize this.
Yeah.
My bad.
No,
It's okay.
no, it's all good. We are ready. We are ready.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting ready, this is a random question I just thought of now since it was brought up earlier, but will any of you decide to take that fate and play Antio this Big Apple 5?
Absolutely not.
I am not intending on it. At least for this one, I need a small break. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
I think after Big Apple 4, that completely soured the whole school experience for me to the point where I am never gonna do it again unless like we get maybe the 5 a.m. squad back or like we get like
Oh,
really
yeah.
close friends back and
Yeah.
then I'll do it.
Yeah.
But
That's fair. I just had to ask.
yeah, because when I tell you I was on the 4 eating fries, that was the lowest of the lows. Sorry. Oh man.
It's funny, bro. I
Yeah.
would do it, but I don't know. I kind of don't like doing two things at once.
That's fair.
I like focusing on one thing.
Yeah. That's completely
Yeah.
understandable. I mean, it could be so stressful too. Like you said, it's so draining as well. Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Like I have done the thing before, but I don't know. I feel like just giving my attention to one thing is just makes the one thing do better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But who knows? Maybe one day you'll see a Metro Inc. team up.
That'd be
Hey,
fire.
listen.
That'd be fire.
Venue versus the TOs, man.
Wait. Local staff versus local staff. Like,
Oh,
Yo.
wait. That kind of goes hard.
Oh my god,
Wait.
yo, imagine.
Screw
I mean,
winner
I don't
versus
want to tear on
winners.
horn, but
Like, I want to
know.
see the TOs go at it.
You'll
Shit.
put that in the local Splat server, see the TO server.
that
Get
would
them
be really
cooking.
fun. We gotta write these down so we just don't forget. Honestly, hold on. I'm writing it
I
down.
love how we're cooking ideas as we speak.
Yo, Cactus is in the kitchen with us.
Hey,
That's
I
right.
got you. Listen, if y'all never need extra sporadic ideas, let me know.
Yo, that's what we excel at. That is our jam.
All right, Cactus. Wait, I have a question though.
Yeah, absolutely.
How would you feel about a Bluefin Zones only tournament?
Bruh.
Dude, I don't even know if you could pay me to play in that, bro. I don't.
As
Okay,
in,
hold on.
as in like you could do it if you wanted to, or like that's like a hard like no, that idea is stupid, Pico. We're not doing that.
What's the prize incentive?
A handshake and a smile.
A blue collar.
You know what? Throw in you sunning my forehead if I win, and I got you.
You know what? I will gladly do that.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Deal.
I got you.
All right.
All right, bro. Where are you gonna host this Bluefin tournament?
No idea. Going in the meeting.
Going to
Doc.
the meeting.
Going on the back burner.
Sure as hell ain't gonna be in Brooklyn
Oh,
unless you paid him out of your pocket.
Oh my god.
absolutely not.
We'll just give Cactus the next dibs on the next plushie.
Yo, wait, no, that's rigged.
Hey, yo, wait.
That is
Yo,
rigged.
actually, I do have.
Oh.
I have Gala over there, bro. I gotta bring Gala.
Speaking of rigged,
That raffle was
Cactus.
crazy.
Cactus. Respectfully, I won that.
Respectfully, you did.
Dude,
But also,
I can't believe I pulled that ticket and it was legitimately Power's ticket. I joke because the thing is, I joked about it before we did the raffle. I was like, "What is it?" As a joke, I put my name in there, right? But like, I had my name in my pocket, right? And I just pulled it out as like a joke, be like, "Oh, guys, I won." But we ended up not doing that, and so for me to pull out Power's name from the actual basket. And like in that moment, like you saw it on the camera, I was so confused. I was like, "Wait, what is happening right now?"
It was just
Like,
funny just hearing it be like, did you put a ticket in? Did you buy one?
I was like, yeah. It said it wasn't even. It said power, or it said like a different way of saying
It said "Power."
Yeah, it said power. Yeah,
That's why I was so confused in the moment. I was like, "Wait, is this actually happening?
because
Did the joke just come to life?" Like,
yeah, because like Chicken was asking. I think Chicken was asking if asking me to do it, and then I was hesitant, but then I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, what's the worst that
What are
happened?
the odds that I actually win, bro? It's just one ticket.
apparently you did, dude. The one ticket out of the sea of tickets, and it managed to be you.
I'm saying, if you're going to Vegas, take me with
I know,
you.
right? But then, funny enough, the second ticket happened to be you, Cactus, which is like even crazier. We
Yeah.
were like, "What?"
Like, you're like the OGs. What are the odds?
It's so funny
We were
because I
like, "What
also
happened?"
I bought a ticket and I also wrote Kermit's name on one of them. So
Really?
part of me really
Oh
wanted
my
just
god!
Kermit
If
to be
I had
pulled.
pulled the Kermit one, I just all hell would have broken loose in that venue. Like just the constant laughter, man.
Oh, it would have been over.
This is a great time to plug. Guys, go vote because your vote counts.
That
You'll
is
never
true.
know.
That's true.
That's true. 100%. Oh man, I love that gala raffle thing. It was awesome.
That was
Good
big.
times. Good times, man. See, it's good content. All right, we create good
Yes.
content here. All right. And that's
Totally
why
not.
Bluefin zones will never leave the map rotation.
Bruh.
I feel like
not
People keep
scripted.
talking about it till this day.
I feel like you gotta have like next to you gotta have stickers that says like I survived the Bluefin
I
zone.
survived.
That's- Write that down. Write that down. I got you. I got you.
Wait a minute.
Just put out
Writing it
every
down.
setup for someone to, or hand them out as you walk in. Just be like, hello, are you playing today?
Here-
You are? Here you go.
Ah, here you go.
Yeah, that's 100% content.
Oh my god.
Thanks, Cactus.
Yeah, I
Cactus
got you,
is the
bro.
content guy. He literally is.
Listen, I got ideas, bro. They spur of the moment.
Yeah. So he like.
All right, well, from me, that's really all I had for y'all, questions wise. So I want to give this opportunity for all of you to take the floor. This is your opportunity to thank who you want to thank, shout out what you want to shout out, say what you'd like to say. We'll start with you, Andy. It's all you.
Shout outs to anyone that's ever came to our events, anyone that's watched on Twitch. We want to make it a great experience, like either way. I'm glad to be with the crew here, Pico, Law, and the others that aren't here, like Hunty, Ducky, Jay, Radish, and our production guys too, Trevor from Gen Game and Face from the old days of the meta. You could and truck.
Chicken.
There's Chicken, dude.
Squid Dick.
Squid Nick. There's a lot.
Galabot.
Our volunteers.
Galabot.
Okay, Galabot. Okay. First of all, I'm not paying for Galabot anymore, so.
Damn, rip. Spectre, Spectre's still in there,
Actor,
Shout outs to Spectre.
volunteers, commentators, just hanging with us. Everyone hanging with us through like all the events. You're our goats. You're all the goats. Yeah, follow me on Twitter or something. At PowNY. At Pow_NY. I forgot my blue sky, so go off.
Ditto. Shout outs to Two Moons, to Mute, Spectre, Ned.
Well, for me, I don't know if Andy mentioned this. I kind of dazed out for a second.
Me too.
Shout outs to the community as a whole, because
Yeah.
without the community, we would not be here,
Mhm.
right? Like, so they deserve a lot of the props for showing up every single LAN, showing up the energy, and we do appreciate every single one of you guys for attending our LANs. It makes it worthwhile for having countless meetings. This feels like a second job to us at this point. But it's the second job that we love. So it's because of the community that we do this every time. So definitely big shout outs to them. Big shout outs to the volunteers as well.
And that's just to borrow.
Shout outs to Sabaro's best pizza in New York City, authentic New York pizza, the best New York City pizza that you can get anywhere in the city. I almost forgot about that. Thank you, Law.
Of course, I got you.
Shout outs to New York City.
Facts.
Yeah,
Let's go
dude.
New York.
Yeah.
Shout outs to our new deity, Deitas, rocking strong.
The pigeon.
Yeah, no one will get that joke, by the way.
No,
The
no
new
one was.
giant
Besides
pigeon, bro.
Power.
Went
Yo,
right
I'm
over my
actually,
head.
I'm actually taking a New York trip Sunday, bro. I gotta see that pigeon.
Oh yeah. So do you know what the pigeon's name is though?
No, I don't know its name.
It's Deitas, right?
Okay.
But do you know what Deitas like stands for?
No.
So you know how people say dead ass?
Oh my god, bro.
They put the accent on the A and then the second A. So they called it
no
Deitas.
way.
And there's people that have rituals. There's a guy that went up there. He had like a pair of Timbs, a chopped cheese, a Yankees fitted, a Metro card, and they were doing like a ritual underneath the pigeon. It was the greatest video ever. It was hilarious, and I'll send it to you after this.
Please do.
But yeah, just shout outs to Deitas watching over New York City.
Oh my god,
Oh
bro.
boy.
Thanks for having us on, Cactus.
Yeah,
We appreciate
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you to
y'all
you,
for coming
you know.
on.
Oh yeah, of course. We'll always be here for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make sure I attend every Big Dapple and Gridlock there is to come. I still have yet to go to a Little Dapple. Eventually.
Yeah, we'll make it worth your while.
Hey, say less. But I want to keep my streak alive. Obviously, going into Big Dapple 5. For those wondering, November 9th, Saturday. Book your tickets now. At
On
the what is it?
RTG
Yeah.
/ Big Dapple. BIGDAPPLE.
There you go. Sign up. Come out if you're in the
There you go.
area, or if not, if you want a trip to see the New York scene at its best, because no one does it like New York. What can we say? What can we say? Like that's what I love thinking about it.
Yeah, we're different, honestly.
Facts. Definitely some of the
yeah.
loudest.
Oh, 100%. We're up there with LTC and SNS
100%.
in terms of loudness. So, and our venue's smaller, so
Yeah.
think of it that way.
Everything
Tiny
to
but
help.
mighty.
Right.
All right, yeah, but that's everything for me. Once again, huge thank you to Andy, Law, and Pico for coming on out, talking about Big Dapple, Metro Inc. and its history, and it is giving us a little insight about themselves. But that's going to do it for us here on the Cactus Patch. We'll be seeing you guys in the next episode. Goodbye. Everyone feel free to say goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye.